for these problems. That is the third step. Then the fourth step is we are generating some hypothesis. That means tentative assumptions. We are generating some hypothesis. Then the fifth is we are making some designs to get implemented to implement that hypothesis in the class. That is the fifth step. Then finally we are drawing conclusion by conducting some tests or something. Those are the 6 steps. So what are the steps? Yes, first we are identifying the problem. Yes, then we are collecting some information like pinpointing the problem. Then we will find the causes. Then we will generate hypothesis. We will design that hypothesis to be implemented in class. Then we will draw the conclusion. Those are the steps. It will be explained in detail by Shadra. So the first example for action research is titled as Confusion Faced by Class 11A Students while Solving Trigonometric and Inverse Trigonometric Functions. That is the title of the first example. And first we have to identify the problem in the class. So the teacher identified that in class 11A the students are showing some confusion while they are doing inverse and trigonometric and inverse trigonometric problems. The students are facing some confusion. That is what the teacher identified as the issue. The next is pinpointing the problem. That means the teacher is elaborating, collecting some information about the points. So the teacher found that the students are having some confusions about this trigonometric and inverse trigonometric functions, and they are making mistakes while solving the problems which is having sine, cos, tan, their inverse, etc. And they are often interchanging the formulas and they are misunderstanding domain and range. That is what the teacher found as the problem. Then the next step is to find the causes. So the teacher found that the causes for this problem is sometimes it can be a lack of basic understanding about domain and range. Then the next is the student may be memorizing the concept without clearly understanding the problem. The next is insufficient practice problem. The children might be doing something from the class, going home, leaving it, then coming in the morning in the same bag. So they are not practicing. Sometimes it can be the problem, insufficient practicing of problems. Then lack of visual representation of functions. All these things are abstractive, so the students might not understand. So a lack of visual representation can also be the cause for this issue. So these are the causes that the teacher found. Now she is generating some hypothesis. We are generating some hypothesis to overcome these causes. So the hypothesis is that if I use graphical representation and comparison table between trigonometric and inverse trigonometric function, the student might understand more. So that is the hypothesis the teacher formulated. So that students will understand the difference between inverse and trigonometric functions. The next step is to create some, develop some design for testing the action hypothesis. So the first one is teacher is conducting a pre-test to understand how much the student knows the thing. To know the basic level of the student, the teacher is conducting a pre-test. Then the teacher is using teaching materials like charts, etc. to compare the functions, trigonometric and inverse trigonometric functions. Then she is using graphs and some other examples to teach the children and providing worksheets and group discussions, as well as finally we will conduct a post test after some weeks. In all the action research, there will be a pre-test as well as a post to understand the difference. So these are the designs made by the teacher to implement her hypothesis. And after this, she has to draw conclusion. After this post test, she will get the conclusion. Sometimes it can be positive or else it is negative. If it is positive, after implementing the activities, the students showed improvement in distinguishing between trigonometric and inverse trigonometric functions. So now the students are able to distinguish between those and do problems on these topics. So the hypothesis will be accepted. So what happens if it is negative? If it is negative, then we will again find some cause, we will again generate hypothesis, implement it, and then we will conclude it. So this is a cyclic process as we already discussed in the previous to identify the issue. So the issue is that a significant number of students, they are scoring low marks in maths compared to other subjects like science and social of class 9B. So this indicates a learning problem that needs immediate attention and improvement. So that is the identification of the problem. Now we are elaborating it that in 9B there are 40 students in total, and most of the students, they are getting a score which is less than the average mark. So that is pinpointing in mathematics. In all other subjects they are having satisfactory mark. So that is pinpointing. So what can be the causes for this thing to happen? Fear. It can be some issue with the calculation, problem solving issue. Then it can be lack of interest. Then yes, can't remember or understand the formula, etc. All these can be causes. So here are some of the causes. Lack of basic mathematical concepts. So the students cannot, they are not having a good mathematical background, or mathematical basic concepts are missing among the children. Then next is fear and negative attitude towards mathematics. In most of the people there is a trend that most of them doesn't like mathematics. They are having a fear about mathematics. So it can be the problem of scoring low marks. Then insufficient practice of problems. As I said in the previous class, going home, leaving it and coming back. It can also be problems. They are not practicing it daily or something like that. Then difficulty in understanding mathematical language and symbols. Some children may feel difficulty in understanding the symbols and all, integration, differentiation. The symbols and all, some students may feel it difficult. Then lack of individual attention in the classroom. In our pinpointing and that chapter itself, we told that there are 40 students. So the teacher may not be able to check each and every student. So lack of individual attention in the classroom can also be a problem. Then poor problem solving skills, as you said. So children might not be having that enough speed in problem solving, etc. Then low confidence in solving mathematical questions. Even though the children know the concept, sometimes they may feel very less confident in solving the problems. Then the method used by the teacher is not sufficient. This is also one important thing. Like most of the students are scoring less marks, so that the problem can also be with the teacher. The method that she uses in the class is not sufficient. So these are the causes. Then the teacher is formulating the hypothesis. The hypothesis is that if I provide remedial teaching, additional practice worksheet and use activity-based teaching method, then the students' achievement in maths may increase. So that is the action hypothesis, to provide some activity-based things and to provide additional remedial classes or worksheets, etc. And she is developing a design for testing this action hypothesis. First we will be conducting a pre-test to know the existing knowledge. Then providing remedial teaching class. So the teacher will provide extra classes other than the classroom hours to make the children improve. Then give additional practice worksheet. Other than the normal problems, teacher will give more homeworks, assignments, worksheets, etc. Then teacher will provide individual guidance. Then teacher will conduct some activity-based interesting things like group discussion, peer teaching or something else. It will attract the children's attention, and so that they will learn mathematics. Then finally she will conduct a post test after some weeks. So these are the things that the teacher will conduct in order to make the children improve their marks. And after that, drawing conclusion, after implementing these activities and all, the students are showing some improvement in their score in mathematics performance. That is, the number of low scorers they have decreased. So finally this hypothesis is accepted. So this is the second example, and this action research we have to do when we go for this teaching practice, so it is very important. Then the final example that I have So this is the title, and the problem identified is the students of 8th C, they are struggling to solve problems related to Pythagoras theorem. And pinpointing the problem, we will specify which class of students are they, or what is the problem. All those things are coming in the second step only. It is noticed among students of class 8th C, while solving right angle triangle problems, they are misunderstanding the different sides. They are confused with hypotenuse, base, altitude, etc. And also they fail to substitute in the Pythagoras equation. They are not understanding how to substitute it into the equation. That is the issue. And the causes here are first one, lack of basic understanding about right angle triangle. Then they are finding difficult in identifying the hypotenuse. They don't know which is hypotenuse, which is altitude, which is base, etc. Then they might have weak calculation skills. Even if they are applying the thing in the equation, they are making mistakes in calculation. That can be also an issue. Then lack of real life examples. So these are also concrete. So the teachers should provide, like they are having a lack of real life examples. They don't know where to use this one, etc. That can also be the cause. The next the teacher is formulating the action hypothesis. So the hypothesis is that if I use practical demonstrations and real life examples of right angle triangle, then the students will understand. So if I am using some real life examples about this theorem, about right angle, and if I am showing some practical demonstration, the students may understand more and their working may improve. That is the hypothesis the teacher has formulated. And in order to make this into practice, she is planning to conduct a pre-test first to identify the level, then use models of right angle triangles. The teacher will use the models of right angle like teaching aids and teaching materials to make the children visualize the thing and understand. Then demonstrate the theorem using square diagrams. So we all know how to demonstrate Pythagoras theorem using square. So the teacher may demonstrate it to the students for better understanding. Then may conduct group problem solving activities based on real life example. Teacher will give more real life examples where the students can use this Pythagoras theorem in their real life, and then conduct some group activities, etc. Then finally the teacher will conduct post test to find the effectiveness of your teaching.